Hello and welcome to the Blue Monday podcast. Now into our fifth season, looking into the exciting happenings of Ipswich Town Football Club. My name is Benjamin Bloom, and you're tuned into the midweek show, available most midweeks when we play on video and audio. So for a sometimes irreverent but always informative hour or more of football conversation, make your Monday a Blue Monday. Say it, Dave.
Say it. I'm not saying it tonight. I'm reserving it. I'm reserving it for Rob 765-40279.
Oh, has he asked for one? Has he?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, Rob.
Far too early. Doesn't feel right. Doesn't feel right at this stage.
Joe Fez, you're wearing a Borussia Dortmund shirt. Is that
nice?
Is that a nod to Paul Lambert?
Just a nod to a massive club in Germany.
With one massive stand behind the goal. The big yellow wall.
No normal. Really no normal.
I tell you what's no normal, Dave, is Ipswich's luck with injuries, because Idris El Mazouni, on loan at Cambridge, who was playing rather well, has done his medial ligament in his knee, Dave. Can you talk about El Mazouni and our propensity for long-term injuries?
Been promoting him for a while, and he's shown at times he's decent. Good technique, confident lad, isn't he? Quite confident lad. And from the little snippets we saw at Cambridge, he scored a fantastic free kick. Maybe not on his debut, but close to his debut, I think. And little snippets as well. Did he not come on as sub? And I think they were 1-0 down, turned the game pretty much. One rasping drive, I think, hit the bar. That'd been a worldly. Rasping. He and it's just our luck. I don't think it'd have been, it'd have got great experience with Cambridge right up until the end of the season and come back raring to go hopefully next season. Now obviously he's going to be full into rehab for next season. And it's his medial ligament, so it's not an ACL, it's not his cruciate. So medial, still a bad injury, but one you'd think with rehab might not even need an operation. Joe, does it? I'm not actually sure.
I don't know. They're saying back for pre-season.
Yeah, it's not an ACL, so it's not like a Dazelle type injury or a Morris or something like that. So hopefully he'll be fresh and raring to go next season.
Or a Falami.
He is one player that has shown promise when the little bits and pieces we've seen on him. Obviously, Joe knows him far better than.
Yeah, has some good comments from the Cambridge manager today.
Saw that Mark Bonner, isn't it? Bonner,
yeah. He's super talented, and I think people saw that. I think he's getting settled in with us. He's talented, but he mixes it with work ethic and humility, and that's quite a good lesson for lots of our young players as well. A really talented boy who will have a good career.
Yeah, there we go. Another talented boy, Joe, is Tyrese Simpson, who, we're going to get onto him in a little bit when we do the Fleetwood game. Don't stop listening now. We were always going to talk about the Fleetwood game. But Joe, tell us about Tyrese Simpson, and that's a pro deal until 2022 with the standard Marcus Evans option for a third year.
Yeah, well, everyone's seen him in the last couple of games. Big player, fast, strong. Like, you wouldn't believe he's 18 when you see the size of him. Hammer of a left foot, but he's done really well. He joined full time last year at 16, and you see the the improvement he's made over that time. He had the touch of a sort of trampoline at the start of that. He really struggled, and you can tell because a lot of the boys he's playing have been full time footballers since about 9 years old. So coming in at 16, not from that background, they really stick out sometimes. But he's really come on.
Didn't I read somewhere, Joe, he sort of came from a rugby background originally?
Yeah, he went to Langley School, which is a private school out in Norfolk.
Does that mean he likes to drink beer off teammates' ball sacks and things like that?
Out of shoes and
things.
But he was, I think he scored a couple of tries in a national rugby final, sort of playing 2 years above himself as well. So he's a talented sportsman.
When you said he had the touch of a trampoline, Dave, there's that line in Graceland by Paul Simon where he goes, "A girl in New York City, she calls herself the human trampoline. And when I'm tumbling," some little link to Graceland. There's another link in the news mentioning one Neil Warnock, but let's save that until after we've spoken about the Fleetwood game. So off we go on a Tuesday night. Ipswich Town versus Fleetwood. Ipswich on a level with Fleetwood in League One. Here is your team, Joe. 6 changes in goal. Thomas Holly, Wilson, Chambers, Earl, 3 centre halves, Danassian right wing back, Garbutt left wing back, your central midfield three. Brett McGavin for his league debut, Andre Dazelle and John Nolan, with Will Keane and Alan Judge up top. Pick that one apart. What did Terry Butcher say? Pick the bones out of that, Mr. Fairs.
Well, it's like a EFL trophy lineup, wasn't it, when you saw it at first? But it's the same thing I said after the Wimbledon game when I did the pod. You saw the team and you knew exactly how it was going to work out. You had once you worked out what shape they were playing, that is. You've got three centre backs, none of whom are confident ball players. The best ball player of that three is probably Luke Chambers, which tells its own story in a back three. You've got a right wing back who is a full back who is not confident in the ball in the opposition half. You've got a left wing back who's fine. You've got Brett McGavin who sits and plays a Cole Skuse role. You've got Andre Dazelle who is naturally deep line. You've got John Nolan who may as well be wearing an invisible shirt, the amount of impact he's having at the moment. And then you've got Will Keane up front who likes to drop in deep, and Alan Judge who does not hold his position, who just runs around all over the place trying to find the ball. We just decided to lump the ball all game to the 6'7" centre half. Just like, what on earth are you expecting? Like you see the team and you see how it's going to play, and you think, I hope it's not as bad as it seems, and it was as bad as you thought.
Dave, is there any mitigating factor here in the argument I think either Stuart or Andy from the paper made that Jackson is suspended, Norwood is having an operation,
Injured.
Downs is suspended, and Hughes and Sears needed to be nursed through? I mean, obviously there's Luke Wolfenden, Gwion Edwards,
more than
Miles
that. Hughes and Skuse picked up these minor injuries, didn't they? Apparently, Skuse got a toe injury, hasn't it, Joe? Or the other way round. Yeah. One's got a shin injury, one's got a toe injury. So that was kind of unfortunate of the night. But I don't think anyone perhaps would have picked McGavin, no matter how promising he is. And I've seen him previously in EFL games, and he looks a promising player, but. Yeah, sadly, not the right pick. Not the right pick that night, especially when he's up against experience. Oh, Glenn Whelan, for Christ's sake, he's been doing it for bloody years, hasn't he?
Paul Coots
as well. Connolly for quarter an hour, whatever it was.
Let's run through that Fleetwood
but
team,
just quickly, you've got Freddie Sears and Teddy Bishop on the bench, and it's like, I appreciate that they might not be able to get through 90 minutes because they've just played the first game, but Freddie Sears came on at half-time, played 45 minutes. Start him and see what you get out of him, and if you have to take him off after 55 minutes, take him off then. Try and win the game
I fully expected to go down there quite excited, and I'm sure other fans did, to see Dobra start.
Yeah.
I mean, that for me was...
Where would you play Dobra in a 3-5-2, Dave?
Well, I know, a Dobra instead of, Judge.
Don't play a 3-5-2. Play the 4-3-3 we set up at Blackpool with, where we actually created some chances for once.
Yeah, from what I saw, he sort of really influenced when he came on at Blackpool. He really did have a big influence on the by all accounts. I was a bit disappointed there.
Here's your Fleetwood team. So Cairns in goal, Coyle, Virgil Van Suter, Gibson Andrew is the back four. You've got Coots sitting with Whelan-ish and Connolly kind of pressing in the midfield three. Burns down the right, Mackay down the left, and Madden down the middle. Off we go, Dave. Ipswich don't start terribly, and then Callum Connolly gets some kind of bump, hit, nosebleed. And Joseph Barton decides he's going to match up with our 3-5-2. So in comes Ched Evans, and Coyle tucks in, and Andrew goes to wing back, and Burns drops back, and Glenn Whelan's now going to sit with Coots, and Mackay drops into midfield. And I think, Joe, you mentioned this, maybe in our WhatsApp group, that Joey Barton had played 14 formations or something of that nature. Dave, are you impressed with how they flitted from 4-3-3 to this 3-5-2?
It seemed to me seamless, wasn't it? Absolutely seamless, very comfortable, and that pans out what Joe was saying. They've got these 14 different formations or whatever they play. Yeah, very, very comfortable. Absolutely.
Joe, this seems to kind of suit Fleetwood a little bit now. They seem to get their wing backs much higher than we get ours, and they're starting to get an overload. The 3 defending, 7 attacking, basically. Little bit of a let off on 28. Chambers intercepts and hits his own post. The boos begin on 33 when Josh Earl steps out and has no options to play into central midfield and gives the ball away. And then on 40, Joe, here comes the inevitable, the exact same pattern as the Oxford game. Here comes the goal. Can you take us through this one?
I haven't watched it back since, but from what I remember, it's just we lose the ball in midfield. Evans just knocks it in short and just plays a 1-2, and he's just got the beating of Chambers for pace. Stays away from him. Chambers tries to put a block in, but Holy seems to go through Hurley. He seems to have his weight on the wrong foot, doesn't he? Where I don't know, he gets a good foot to it, doesn't?
Yeah, he spreads himself. He's one of those where he's sort of going back and he spreads himself, and he seems to get a good. I thought he went under his foot, but sort of deflects off his foot into the far corner.
The only place Evans is going to shoot is across him, though, isn't it? That's the only place he can really shoot. So I'd have expected him.
And Joe, if he larrups it bar and in down his right, you say, okay, good goal, don't you?
But Joe, the start of that move, it was Whelan again. Whelan landed on the ball in centre mid, just a little ball into. Yeah, and it was a good goal. It's quite a clever move. Good ball into
Zell off, doesn't he? But...
Yeah, a little ball into Evans, who plays.
Dave, what about Chambers there? Should he do better?
Yeah, he wasn't great. He got exposed there, didn't he? I'm not sure Evans is the quickest there, but I thought he got exposed a bit. Yes, he gets in a challenge, but I suppose Evans gets the ball out of his feet and hits it quite early. And I don't think Evans is predominantly left-footed. Probably Chambers is thinking he's doing the right thing there, showing Evans onto his left. But yeah, he gets it out of his feet, hits it quite reasonably early. Yeah. Chambers should have done better. Holy certainly should have done better. Disappointing goal. So easy.
I don't think Chambers shows him onto his left. I just don't think he catches up with him.
Well, I don't think he does.
Joe,
Joe. I think you're right. He basically takes it on his left. Yeah.
But Joe, he's in a bad position because he starts to turn, and when the forward has got the defender wondering which shoulder, or are they going to turn one way or the other? They're then favourite at that point.
I was confused because it seemed that Wilson and Chambers seemed to be swapping positions all through the first half and all through the game. Well, not so much in the second half when we changed it up, but it seemed that Earl was on the left, and at certain times Wilson was in the middle. Other times Chambers was in the middle, and I don't know whether that led to it, why they were doing that, because it's not normal to keep switching around, is it?
I thought our shape was poor all night. He was awful, absolutely.
Here we go to half time. Dave and I had a very sober, numb chat at half time, and back we come, Joe. In comes Freddie Sears for Brett McGavin. So Judge drops into a midfield of Dazelle, Nolan and Judge now, and Sears goes up front. Do we praise Lambert for getting McGavin out of this shitstorm, Joe, or do we say that's a bit harsh on your debut to be hooked after 45?
I don't know. I don't think. I think sometimes people make too big a play of that. I think as long as it was handled correctly, I think McGavin would have got a lot of experience from the start, and I also think he'd have understood that we're getting overrun and we're changing shape, and he's the one that sacrificed. I think sometimes people try and overanalyze those things a bit too much. Yeah, he probably didn't want to come off, but he probably wasn't expecting to even get any minutes in the league this season.
No, he started off quite reasonably brightly. He was sort of landing on the ball and stuff, but then as the half wore on, I thought the game was passing him by.
He got caught a couple of times on the ball, didn't
he? Did,
including for the goal, wasn't it? And again, the pattern of the Oxford game. We actually have an okay 5 minutes straight after half time, but then there's a long ranger from Coyle, and then some nice football actually to get Burns in down the right, and then Madden nearly gets something from the corner, and then the atmosphere doesn't turn nasty, it turns sarcastic. So we start getting the cheers every time Suter beats Will Keane in the air. By the way, if I'm just going to mention his name, if I'm Neil Warnock watching Thomas Holy take a goal kick, I'm literally salivating, dribbling as Holy continues to boot the ball 80 yards down the pitch.
If only he could kick it in the direction he wanted to, it'd be even better.
Oh my God! It did get. I mean, it was embarrassing, wasn't it? I mean, that was the crowd's entertainment, wasn't it? Every time it just landed on his head, every single time.
And Dave, the one time he did roll the ball out to Chambers, the crowd was like, "Ray," and it's like, I'm not saying the crowd should dictate how you should play, but when the crowd can see that you're losing every long ball, why is the management not able to see that from the sideline and trying to switch it up and get someone to drop in and try and play out from the back.
Joe,
it's incredible, really, isn't it?
Confidence had just gone there. No one wanted the ball, and everyone looked very shy when Holy had it, and he.
I kind of disagree with that. I think. All right, we get to that. I thought Dizelle had a half decent game, which I was pleased about actually. If anyone was going to create for us on the night, it was Dizelle. So especially further forward, he got into some decent positions, and yeah, you could see he's got that bit of class, and he's got that pass in him. But yeah, sadly, didn't perhaps do it enough. But I thought on the night he was our best player.
Dave Simpson comes in for Keane on 60, and then we get the kind of one chance from a judge free kick. Wilson from point blank blocked out, falls to Nolan. As with Nolan, he kind of does everything safe and controls the volley, hits it into the ground, and Cairns makes the save. And then really, the rest of the game.
Simpson had that shot, didn't he? But
oh, of course, yeah. So yeah, Simpson.
Good effort, good save actually.
Yeah. When was that?
That was a nice touch from Dizelle, I think. Just Dizelle got in a good position, sort of one touch, flicked it back, and good turn, good hit. Is he naturally left-footed then, Joe? Is he? You said earlier.
Yeah, he's left-footed. Yeah,
it's good hit, good save. That was about it.
Yeah, we
about
see
84, 85.
Yeah, I've got it 83. Yeah,
not sure he deserved anything.
Sowerby comes in from Mackay to shore up the midfield. Bishop comes in for Nolan to sell Judge and Bishop now in midfield to end this game.
I thought Fleetwood were pretty lively. I thought Madden was pretty lively Mackay's good player at that level, and he's probably too good for that level. And Whelan just did a Whelan job, didn't he?
I thought Madden
they looked quite solid. I thought they looked okay.
Madden was the sort of player that just got in all three of the defenders' faces, made all their nights uncomfortable, and also made the midfield's night uncomfortable.
Yeah,
he's got about 6 players that he was bullying.
Quite impressed with him. Never seen him before. Yeah, player.
Okay, so here come the stats then. Just give me a minute, because we will be accused of over dramatising.
Give you a minute to compose yourself.
Yeah. I know Joe's done this a few times. I'm actually going to drink during this one as well. So
it's a glass of wine, Ben. It looks like a glass of wine.
That's a nice French. Let's have a bit. A Sauvignon Blanc. That's very nice, actually. Yeah.
I'll tell you who wouldn't like a French wine. Neil Warnock.
Neil Warnock wouldn't. What are you playing at?
Neil Brexit Warnock would not like
that. Get it
that.
away from me. All the French rubbish.
We're coming on to Warney in a minute. The result means Ipswich dropped to 9th position, 52 points from 35 games. That is 1.48 per game, projecting a 65-point finish. Remember, it's only 44 games. Ipswich have now played 35 games, which is more than any team in the league. 9 teams have 2 games in hand, and 5 of those 9 are in the top half of the table. The loss was Town's 5th at home and the 3rd in the last 4 home games. It was the 6th defeat in 8 games, which means the points scoring is bad. Going back 20 league games now, Ipswich have only won 4. With Rochdale only 1 above the drop on 1 point per game, then relegation form in League One is anything below 1 point per game. Ipswich have scored 19 points in the last 20 games. Ergo, Ipswich have been in relegation form since November the 23rd, 20 games and 103 days ago. This means that since Paul Lambert joined Ipswich 495 days ago, only 94 days of the reign have been spent not in relegation form. So across 2 divisions since Lambert joined, 401 of his days have been in relegation form. So in that context, do we now have a big enough sample size to talk about Lambert? 31 championship games, 35 League One games, 4 permanent signings: Vincent Young, Holy, Keane, Wilson. Joe?
Judge.
Have we got enough of a sample size? Does the state of chaos mean that we don't have enough of a sample size because of what he inherited? And is it going to get better or worse under him? You go first, Joe, and then Dave, you can follow up.
Well, I sort of made my feelings relatively clear on Lambert before the new contract was signed, before January the 1st. I wasn't having him for what he was offering. I just don't think he's improved us. I think he had a hell of a long free hit last year, 31 games. And I think, that's probably the right thing to do. But I was starting to get concerned towards the end of last season when we were starting changing shape and changing position and changing style. And I was thinking, you're supposed to be building something here for next season. And then we went into pre-season. I couldn't really tell you what we were playing, but then we started the season brilliantly. So I was a bit, actually, fair play. You've while performances might not be good, you're getting results, and results are the key thing. But he has just blown it from that point on there. He's the cancelling of the games, losing the momentum, the rotation, the players, just the negativity. Oh, we've got 60 games this year. This run's not going to last. It's almost like he's talked us out of form, and the bloke's lost it. You look at the team, and he's just things probably will get better than him, but from such a low base. But they're not going to get good enough because he's not up to it as a manager for us. He doesn't, whether he doesn't have the right people around him, but you listen to his quotes. Oh, what was it? It's sort of like, we're winning, so we need to cancel games because of this, because of momentum. Then it's we need to do this. Well, we'll be better off now. We've got more home games. We're better off away because we've got that. We're better now with the hunted. We're better now, and it's just bollocks. And it's just you just hit everything he says. I just sick of him.
Spin, isn't it? Spin.
And you hear the other night saying, "Oh, we're struggling to deal with the pressure of it," and it's like
expectations, Joe. He said expectations about 10 times in his post-match in 6 minutes.
And it's like, well, it's his job, isn't it, to sort out the player's mental state and
manage Aston Villa. You want to talk about expectations?
Just got to plug in. Hang on, carry on.
If the players can't deal, if the players don't have the right mentality, then he needs to get into their heads, change the mentality. But I can see why the players struggle with the expectations when they see the teams that are announced. You see the team announced on Tuesday, and you think, well, how are we going to win this game? But no, I haven't really even been on the fence for that long. I don't think he's good enough, and he isn't offering anything, and he's not up to it tactically. So for me, he's not the man. If he's a motivator, well, he can't motivate the players. So you're failing on that.
David, big enough sample size to make a accurate value judgment here?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he's not done it, has he? I mean, as Joe said, 31 games last season, big, massive free hit. And yeah, a good start to the season. I mean, were we playing well? No, not really. Won a lot of those games 1-0 away. Perhaps fortunate at certain times. And I think he has. I think he's just sucked it out of the team. The squad rotation, the postponements. I don't know. We should be kicking on. It doesn't seem that long ago. Early November, we're talking about, oh, here we go, guys, 100 goals, 100 points. And it's just disintegrated, hasn't it? Absolutely disintegrated. And I don't know, Joe maybe know more about this. That seemingly has he lost the dressing room? That's the big thing with some of these senior players. Don't know.
Since the turn of the year, we've played 13 games and we've scored 14 goals, and 8 of those 14 goals
twice,
in 2 games. 6 goals in the other 11 games.
It's a shocker. Absolute shocker.
Like the Blackpool game, I'd give him a pass for, because he actually made the changes to try and win the game. And yeah, when your luck's against you, it's against you, and we ended up basically being a team that sort of let in the late goal rather than scored it. But had we been going for games over the last 3 months, we might have won some of these games in the last minute. But when have we been making subs? Oh, bring Alan Judge on in the 84th minute and first change. The games just drift. And on the sideline, if he's not up for the game, which he has been a few times where he's flying around, but it seems like he's not the he's not the manager that gets everyone up for it. Everything's got to be going well to get him up for it, it seems. I don't know.
Well, let's bring up then Mr. Neil Warnock, because the link was in the Mirror, and I think everybody pointed out that it was the Mirror that knew already before Paul Hurst went that this deal was happening.
And David, coincidentally, the Mirror was the paper that Marcus Evans tried to buy a few years ago. So,
Dave, what has happened to go from we don't want Mick because we don't like the football to 18 months later, oh, give us Warnock and get us out of this? Does that just say...
What's the point? Give us Warnock. It's too late. What's the point in doing that now? Yeah. No point at all. He's retiring at the end of the season, for Christ's sake. He's made no secret of that. Has he really ever said, okay, you read between the lines and you hear little whispers about, oh, yeah, he'd really be gagging for the Ipswich job? There's no point now. What is the point now? Absolutely pointless, really. Should have been probably after the Lincoln game. When was that? Over New Year probably. Should have done it then. Instead, this new 4-year extension to his contract. You couldn't make it up, mate. You really could not make it up. But I think from what I see of it, I think he's just absolutely lost. I think he's lost the dressing room. Wow. There's just no confidence there at all.
Joe, Neil Warnock has retired about 5 times. You know, Kiss always do the farewell tour every time. He has retired about 5 times already.
Yeah.
Using my laptop. Go on, you carry on, guys.
I agree with Dave with regards to that. If it was going to be Warnock, it needed to be earlier. Even if it wasn't as far back as a Lincoln game, even was when we lost those 3 games back to back. That Rotherham, Peterborough, or whoever else we played in those 3 games, wasn't it? Or Oxford, was it, where we lost 3 in a row? Even if it was after that, and you've given him 11, 12 games, and just said, look, £1 million bonus if you get us up, or something along those lines. Even if you'd have done it before the Fleetwood game, you'd have given him another chance. But for every game that goes by,
too late.
Like I said, we've got 9 games left, and I reckon I looked at the stats on that Sports Club stats, and to have a 60% chance of getting in the playoffs, we need 21 points, 7 wins, or 6 wins and 3 draws. It's not going to happen, is it? And we've got Coventry at the weekend. We'll probably lose that, and then it's 21 points from 8 games. Who's going to come in and win 7 out of 8?
We're so far away from it. We're so far away from it. It's untrue. Yeah. It really is. Yeah, and
it's not just how far away; it's the teams in between, it's the games in hand. Yeah. I say Fleetwood are 6 points ahead of us with 2 games in hand.
How the hell has that happened? Have we played more games than anybody else? How the hell has that happened?
Well, when we cancelled 3, 4 of them as well, incredible, isn't it?
Honestly,
let's do some questions then. Now, often we get called out for stuff, and I very curtly reply, "Okay, can you quote me what exactly I said?" And then I'll respond. Well, this is Steve DD with a great question. He says, "Just watch the 3 of you in episode 131. Bear in mind we're on episode 256. So no, 356.
No, 356. So we're way ahead. Yeah. 131.
So Steve,
I'm not even sure. I think it was just me and you, wasn't it?
So Steve has gone back and watched this and says, the one totally overshadowed by the appearance of Mrs. Diamond. It's the pod after Hurst's 9th game when we couldn't beat 10-man Bolton. There was no hope of any improvement. 2 of you, he doesn't say who, wanted Warburton. Would he have made a big difference?"
Wow, bloody hell, yeah, we were talking about that. Yeah, we certainly were.
I tell you, if we had Warburton, we'd certainly have a pattern of play, wouldn't we?
Yes, yeah, we would. We really would. And I've seen QPR maybe 5 or 6 times this season, and I totally agree with you, Joe. He has Eze, Chair, and Samuel. He's got some exciting players, and they conceded a ton of goals. But you would have somebody who would have tried to build that type of pattern of play.
I forgot about that. He was pretty well touted for it, wasn't he?
But people, let's say, when you say, he's got Eze, Chair, but Chair is a player that was on loan at Stevenage, and he's given him the chance to play in that division. I think Brendan Rodgers gets a lot of this. We had young players. But they're all good. It's like, well, he actually let them play, like your Sterling.
Yeah, gave him a chance.
That.
Yeah.
Dave, Rob asks if there's going to be a crap today.
I'm saving it. There will be one, but I'm saving it. Rob.
I can't believe these questions, and it's not Christian's fault who asked the question, but I remember this question being asked as we were relegated from the Championship. The season is over. Is it time to start the younger lads and build for next season, Dave?
Arguably is, isn't it? Trouble is, you'd love to have thought of El Mazzuni still being with us and getting the opportunity. To be fair, look, a fit from what we saw of him before he had his bad injury, and again this season, a fit Jack Lancaster, and Joe, I'm sure, would endorse this, would have been a big plus for us, I think, this season. So we think hopefully the likes of him to come back next season, El Mazzuni, Dobra. I mean, I'd certainly now be playing the likes of, giving the likes of Dobra a chance now, surely.
Dizzel's got to have that run, isn't he?
And Dizel, of course.
If Dizel leaves his club in the summer without ever having a run of games,
such a shame.
That'd be an absolute travesty if that happens.
Yeah, he's the one. But certainly, I'd go with Dobra now.
Joe, this is at Superblue 2020. Leaving ownership aside, what are the 3 most important things we've learned about the squad this season? Can I do one quickly?
Yeah.
The the players Hurst signed were nowhere near good enough. Stick a minute out there.
I think the fact you're right, you hit on something there. At the start of the season, we've got the biggest and the best squad. I'm sorry, no, we haven't. We haven't got the big. We might have had the biggest squad at one point. We certainly have got the best squad. They're certainly the quality. Just for me, the quality isn't there.
The thing that I'd say is that the players need direction. They're not players you can just stick out there and say, "This is the team. Go and play your game." They need, like I say, they had a long. Not that many of them are left here now, but under Mick, they had a manager who would set the team up exactly how he wanted them to. They'd work on shape all week. He'd stand on the touchline.
Oh, Joe, I used to sit up in the Y block. I used to be able to hear him, and he was all game moving them around, wasn't he?
The players need to know what they do, and they're not. I'm not saying they're not intelligent footballers. They're League One footballers, and League One footballers need to know what they're doing.
Dave, this is probably one you should take. Heard a fan outside say this is worse than the Duncan days. As I'm too young, what were they like?
Well, they were pretty dire, but then you got little nuggets like don't forget during the Duncan days you had Daly and Atkinson came along. Funny enough, we were talking about this the other night. So for every Graham Harvey, there was a Daly and Atkinson there, So they were pretty poor. But again, Baltacha, that was the time Baltacha came. I remember that game, putting 5 past Stoke, him scoring. They were fairly average, but then out of nowhere you got obviously replaced by Lyle, who really on the season or so before got us promoted out of absolutely nowhere. Well, that's just, you can't see any sight of that now, not at all. You had some quality there.
Is that not what difference a good manager makes, though? For all the other questions, Lyle came in and just like, he was a great manager, so was able to do it.
Manager as well.
I'm not saying Mick was a great manager, but he was able to turn a sow's person to a sow's ear into a silk purse. That squad. Chris Wilder at Sheffield United, they were bumbling around in League One, and then all of a sudden they get the manager in who just totally galvanised it.
Do you know what is, Joe? I think is respect for the man. You listen to the likes of Mickey Stockwell, Simon Milton talk about Lyle. That absolutely, eulogise over him because he said, he was a great man. You wanted to play for him. You don't get that feeling now with Lambert, do you? The players, you just don't get that.
Joe, Peckham Blue. This reminds me of talking to Graham from the Roker Report, and everyone from the outside said, "Oh, Sunderland is rotten." Do you know what I mean? They were saying that. Peckham Blue asked, "What's the point of ITFC? We're irrelevant, rotten to the core." Are we now the club that people look at from the outside and say, "Oh, they're rotten. Ipswich is rotten"?
No, because I think a lot of Ipswich fans lack a bit of perspective around what football is like. When, I know Evans hasn't been a brilliant owner here, but when people talk about him being the worst owner in football, and you think, look at what Blackpool have been through, what Portsmouth have been through, what Bury have been through, what Bolton have been through, and what Macclesfield are going through, what Southend are going through. He's just a hapless manager rather than a hapless owner rather than a sort of terrible owner. He makes bad decisions constantly, and
I think
a good manager would make him look good, like Mick did. Had Lambert carried on the form at the start of the season, and we were riding clear at the top of the league, everyone would be olaying and back up to the Championship, thinking, and everything would be fine. That's just how you've got to get it right on the pitch. Whatever happens off the pitch can help, and I've got a lot of criticisms of Evans with regards to the footballing structure he's not put in place, but I think actually we've probably turned a corner a little bit since Lee O'Neill's been there with regards to what we're doing in the community. There's actually some better things being done, but we're crap on the pitch, and that's all that matters. You can be brilliant everywhere, but if you're crap on the pitch, no one cares.
Dave, Andy Nichols says crap. So we'll move on from that one. A lot of people in our question feed agree with you, Dave. A lot of mentions for Andre Dazelle. Chris, London Tractor Boy, asks, why is Dazelle only bought in when there are wholesale changes? Is this guy the worst trainer in the history of the world to never get a run in this team or something?
Well, because how he plays in that bit of a languid style like his dad, doesn't he? He's that, not. I don't mean lazy, but sort of laid back, quite deceptive deceptive style, I think, and he's an easy one. You're not telling me if McGavin hadn't started and would have had a similar half, he'd have probably got the hook up. Dazelle would have probably got the hook at half time. It's happened before, hasn't it? Mm-hmm. So you're like Joe. I think it would be criminal now if he doesn't get a run in the side. If he just drifted and went at the end of the season, absolutely. Because there's a talent there. There really is a talent there.
And I agree with, was it Chris's point where he always gets dropped, like doesn't play for 10 games, comes into this totally random team, and then he doesn't play well. It's like, well, what do you expect? You're dropping him into a totally unsettled team, totally unsuited to what they're doing, and he's just a fool guy always. Give him a run in the team.
For me, he was, like I said earlier, he was comfortably the best of a bad bunch the other night, I thought.
The pin, Joe, says Lambert has a poorer record than Hurst did when he got the chop. We know Evans has a very slow trigger finger. I like the wording of this. What would it take for Lambert to get the boot?
Well, from sort of the talk around sort of the EADT guys and TWTD, the reality is that Lambert, I think what they seem to think, they've obviously been told it from somewhere, is that it's basically if we sack him, it's paying up 2 years of his contract. Whereas if we sack him after he's missed out on the top 6, it's a lot smaller. So do we just have to leave the season till we miss out on the top 6 and save that money for the transfer kitty or the running of the club? If it is another £200,000 difference, that's a lot of money at this level, isn't it? And do you just have to sit it out, or if we lose on Saturday, do Lambert and Evans come together and agree a figure somewhere between the two, which leaves both of them happy just to get on with it? I don't know. Season ticket brochures are going to go out, and I think it's going to be a tough sell. So Evans is going to need to...
What's going to be the strap line on the season tickets for? What the hell's that?
Hashtag a new era. League One fun. A League One tour.
From the
League One tour.
The Apprentice on it.
I tell you what the strap line will be, and I'm not joking about Berry, but no Berry this year, so you get 46 games instead of 44.
I see. Value for money.
Bang for your buck. Dave,
you just remind them that they didn't get full value last year.
This is Dommy Boy. You get to talk about pattern of play now, Dave. This is good. Why do clubs with less resources manage to play better football, Dave?
Honestly, I know. I've been banging on about this all freaking season. There is just no pattern, and hasn't been. I'm not sure there's been much. But do you know what? I'm not sure there's been much pattern to our play all season. To be fair, even when we were winning, when we were winning games.
I think at the very start, we tried to play counter-attacking football, but then we sort of realised that we're the top dog in the league, and everyone's going to come and sit in against us.
And there's no plan. There's really no plan B. But I get exactly Dommy. I get exactly what he's saying. That teams just look far more comfortable. Whenever I see anyone playing this down at Portman Road, teams just look far more comfortable than we do on the ball. Move the ball better. Just totally. You can understand their patterns of play, but nice. The other night was just for me that was probably plumbed out. I'm not sure it could get a lot worse than the other night. I'm really not. On the pitch, I'm not saying, it could, the club could drift, but on the pitch, I'm not sure it could get much worse than that. That was just embarrassing at times,
But and it was changed shape as well.
It wasn't just the keeper, banging it down Virgil's neck. It was bloody, the fullback Danassi. Oh my God, some of his touches. Wilson. Oh my Christ, some of his touches. It was just an embarrassment, wasn't it? Absolute embarrassment. And it was just, and you hate to see it. It's our club. It's a club we love, and the fans just being sarcastic. It's horrible.
And I don't know if you guys agree with me, but talking about the bigger resources, bigger club, smaller club thing, I always believe that a team with no confidence will always lose to a team playing with confidence. Do you know what I mean? Even if there's a disparity in the, that's why it happens in cup ties, don't you? You get a lesser team full of confidence against. And
we've touched on this before. Fleetwood coming. Look at the ground. It's fantastic. All right, only 15,500. We should give a shout to the 88, the gallant 88 from Fleetwood. I mean, fantastic. But people fancy playing us. We're a soft touch anyway. Who's not going to come and fancy playing us at Portman Road? In that, let's face it, it's a nigh on a Prem, certainly top championship, maybe even lower Prem type stadium when it's had a lick of paint, but. Yeah, it just inspires teams, and we just struggle with it.
I'm going to make two apologies here. The first apology is to all the people who asked questions who didn't get their question read out. We had sort of tons because it's been 2 days, an absolute lot. And the other apology I'm going to make is that I'm here in Bedfordshire and the charger to my MacBook Pro is in Hayes in West London and I've got 8% battery left. So we're going to go on and talk about the Coventry game. And we're going to have a slightly shorter pod, so I do apologise for that, just so I can get it off and onto my phone, and then I can edit it and upload it on my phone. Joe, talk to me about Coventry City, of which I've got some wonderful stats, which I now do not have to hand. And here they are. Coventry, top of the league under Mark Robbins. 3 defeats all season, 1 defeat in 21. Their last 13 games, won 10, drawn 3, lost 0, 2.53 points per game over 13 games.
What was that you were saying about a confident team?
Okay. Joe, talk to me about Coventry.
And I'll tell you one thing as well. When I watched them here in the FA Cup second round replay, they looked a good side.
It was a horrible night as well. It was a dreadful night, but you're right, Joe. They did look good. The fullbacks look really good.
And that sort of that wide midfielder just was getting in. They're a really good side. And like I said, without sort of praising Evans, because this isn't me praising Evans. Look at the ownership situation that Coventry have got going on there. They are playing their home games at St Andrews. Our wage bill is double theirs, and they are 15 points clear of us. And
do you think that's helping them, Joe? Do you think that's helping them? Do you think they've got this sort of this almost siege mentality now, and they're kicking back against adversity? I think it probably. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're good players, good team, but I think that's they've developed this siege mentality, and I really think that's helping them. I really do.
Helps them, but they also end up. They have to sell anyone that does well for them, and they got lucky that the player they sold in January to Norwich was able to be loaned straight back. But they felt that had they held on to it, it could have been worth double that in the end of the season. I say this is what I mean about the owner is not the problem at this level. The owner becomes the problem when we're in the Championship and we're a bottom feeder in the Championship. But in this league, we're a big team and we're a big club, and we've got a expensive wage bill. We can blow other teams in this league out of the water when it comes to wages. And the fact that we cannot get a tune out of this squad is an embarrassment. And
Dave, Joe, it's been said before. Is everybody a little bit too comfortable down there?
But I don't know. And I sort of was having this with someone earlier that they're sort of saying, "Oh, we've got a weak mentality in the squad." And it's like, this is down to the manager to sort out. Though, if people are too comfortable, then he needs to sort it out. He's not Paul Hurst coming in trying to. Like I say, McCarthy left the club 18 months ago. If people are still trying to blame him for things that are going on now, then I say that's a weak mentality to me. Blaming a manager who's left 18 months ago for things that are going on now. We need a manager should be able to get a tune out of this squad. It's not like we're come down from the Premier League and we've got players on 50 grand a week on 4-year contracts and you cannot get rid of them. These players are all expendable. The only ones that are on long contracts have been given contracts by the current management team. Sort it out.
Right,
Joe. Any sign of an Amazon?
Dave, sorry, I'm going to crack on because we're really low on the battery.
Go.
Just really quickly, Dave. What the hell can Paul Lambert do to try and ride out this confident team, top of the league, come in here? What can he do to stop a repeat of crowd dropping, atmosphere going, players losing confidence, and just a repeat of Tuesday?
Hopefully
in 4 days.
Hopefully Saturday he'll have 1 or 2 more players that he dispose of. I'm not saying skews, but perhaps Emir Hughes will come in.
Norwood, no Jackson.
Oh, Christ. Jackson available Saturday? Yes,
no.
Serious
third game.
Violent conduct, was it?
I hope it's his third go. Christ. Yeah. I mean, we're very much, going into Saturday, we're very much the underdog, aren't we? So I guess you try and take that underdog mentality into the game, scrap for everything. But I haven't seen a lot of that lately. I fear for Saturday. I really do. Hopefully sticks, as we said. Hopefully sticks with Dazelle. But looking at the players at his disposal, there's not much he can do. There's really not much he can do.
Joe.
I don't know.
Set the team up 4-3-3 and try and outscore them.
Yeah,
that's what we should have been doing all season, trying to score more goals than the other team.
We haven't got goals in us, though, Joe, have we? 4-3. We haven't got goals in this, have we?
Well, we don't create anything.
No, exactly.
So why keep playing 3-5-2 and not creating anything?
Well, one thing I did read earlier. Apparently, Vincent Young is not far away. Obviously, not Saturday. Maybe, I don't know, Portsmouth, perhaps. I don't know.
It's on the
Too
grass.
late, isn't it?
Well, it's too late, but yeah.
I wouldn't even risk him. Make
He
sure
might
he's 100%
sell
back.
a few season tickets.
Okay.
Literally.
We are going to have to wrap up there. As always, I have to make this disclaimer way too often for our liking. We are trying to reflect the views of the fans and our subscribers that have tweeted us in. We don't decide the questions. We also don't decide how the team plays or the results the team gives us as well. So we do apologise, but this is statistically the lowest ebb for the club in, what is it, Dave?
1957, isn't it? So we'll say it's 63 years, is it?
So apologies if you don't find this balanced, but we're trying our absolute best. Everyone is entitled to their opinion, and you can tweet the guys and ask them about anything they've said, but we're just trying to reflect the current mood, and we do apologise if it comes across as downbeat, but I think we're possibly on the right track and have been in the past. Where can people find you on Twitter, David?
At David Diamond 3.
This crap you're going to do at the end of the podcast better be a good one, because you've been.
It's going to be a pretty decent one.
Oh! You've been teeing it up a lot. I mean, Joe, where can people find you on Twitter?
At Joe Fairs.
You can find me at Benjamin Bloom on Twitter. Although I'm not going to have a laptop for the whole weekend after I've quickly get this off my laptop and on my phone, so I may be quiet. Come on, guys, let's keep together. It's supposed to be fun, isn't it? But we are at a very, very low ebb. And hey, the one thing Ipswich will do is surprise you. So maybe some odd win.
Surely we've got to beat one team around us this season, haven't we? Surely, haven't we?
Dave, every time you've said that over the last 5 years, it's dropped down even lower. With all that being said, Mr. David Diamond, would you like to have the last word of this podcast?
Oh, it's crap.